after the
Avtar
discussion,
Meher
that's
Baba
where I
ki
get to.
jai.
Oh, Avatar Meher
Yeah,
Baba.
so let me start with our session for the day. So, Ashok ji, why don't you read the seven realities and then we jump into the book read?
Avatar Meher Baba ki jai. The seven realities: existence, love, sacrifice, renunciation, knowledge, control, and surrender. I give no importance to creed, dogma, caste, or the performance of religious ceremonies and rites, but to the understanding of the following. 1. The only real existence is the one and only God, who is the self in every finite self. 2. The only real love is the love for this infinity God, which arouses an intense longing to see, know, and become one with the truth. God. 3. The only real sacrifice is that in which, in pursuit of this love, all things, body, mind, position, welfare, and even life itself are sacrificed. 4. The only real renunciation is that which abandons, even in the midst of worldly duties, all selfish thoughts and desires. 5. The only real knowledge is the knowledge that God is the inner dweller in good people and in so called bad, in saint and in so called sinner. This knowledge requires you to help all equally as circumstances demand, without expectation of reward, when compelled to take part in a dispute, to act without the slightest trace of enmity or hatred, to try to make others happy with brotherly or sisterly feeling for each one, and to harm no one in thought, word, or deed, not even those who harm you. 6. The only real control is the discipline of the senses to abstain from indulgence in low desires, which alone ensures absolute purity of character. 7. The only real surrender is that in which poise is undisturbed by any adverse circumstance, and the individual, amidst every kind of hardship, is resigned with perfect calm to the will of God. Avatar Meher Baba ki jai. Thank you, and over to you, Karthik.
Avtar Meher Baba ki jai. Thank you so much. Good morning and nice to see all of you in the morning. So let's start with our journey on the book. So we stopped off at page 84. We have finished three reads till now, three sessions rather, and we continue on the journey. So, as usual, maybe the first offer of reading is to Praveen. If he wants, he can read now, and
Yeah, I
then
will.
we can rotate. Yeah. Any thoughts before we get started? I'm sorry I cut you off when it was six, but then we can always get back to it later offline. You guys can talk as well. Yeah. Uh,
Yeah, absolutely.
Pra- uh,
Karthik,
yeah.
I have
Sure, sure.
one thing. You had
Yeah.
highlighted something to go or something like that. Can we just go a little back up?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
highlighted to
Yeah.
go. Yeah, to
So
go.
this is Francis. Yeah. This reminds me of two lines by Francis Brabazon. In one of his ghazals, he writes, "To go on or not to go on equally is disaster. At this point, one is ready to meet the perfect master. To go on or not to go on equally is disaster. At this point, one is ready to meet the perfect master." So the utter helplessness of a jivatma at a point where everything looks, uh, you know, disastrous.
And
Anyway,
it's
Basically,
I know
it
it's.
in a way says, sorry,
Mhm.
Karthik, in a
Go
way
ahead,
it
Sandeep.
says,
Yeah.
जब दिमाग काम करना बंद कर देता है, the mind ceases to exist. That's the point.
Manonash.
Yeah.
I mean, Manonash in a different way. It's just.
Yeah, no, no. Basically, you are not able to decide which way to go, right? So your mind
Yes,
is lost.
yes,
That sense
yes,
also,
yes.
I think we can.
Absolutely.
By the way, I heard a very beautiful talk. I mean, it's more relevant for tomorrow, but I'll put it on the group. I forgot. I heard it yesterday. It's a beautiful talk on karma and sanskaras, right? So it's done by the Meher Spiritual Center, Myrtle Beach. I failed to remember the name of the gentleman who did it. Very, very nice talk. I heard it twice, and I suggest that all of you try to grab it because we just finished formation of sanskaras in discourses, right? So it might be a good summary because he has brought in connections from for samskaras from everywhere. And I am reminded of something he said. He quoted of Rumi, right? He talks about how one of the core things Baba says is morality and spirituality are not the same, right? This good and bad thing is what you start with. Doing good is better than doing bad, but doing bad is not really non-spiritual, right? Now that's a lot of things to think about in one statement. So he quotes a particular Rumi phrase, which I am reminded of this morning. Uh, uh, Rumi says, "There is a place where there is, which is beyond good and bad. Once you get there, meet me." Something to that effect, right? It's obviously a translation. There is a place with, beyond good and bad. Once you are there, meet me, right? So beautiful.
Wow.
Right? Poetry is such a beautiful way of getting very obtuse and tough and challenging concepts. So I've been meditating on that one line and this whole idea since I heard that. So that came to mind. Sorry to distract or take
No,
off
no,
on a tangent.
sorry to distract again, Karthik, but what we
Ah,
read, those two lines from, are also poetic. You know, the ones
mhm.
what
Absolutely.
what we read in the morning. I mean, which is above,
Yeah, yeah.
is poetic. You know, disaster and master.
Like, isn't it the same like Karthik, the line of Rumi which you have just referred, and this one aren't they similar?
No, they are not similar. I mean, I was reminded when I saw this, but it's not really similar, right? Here, he is more. See, Jivatmas in their suffering stage, right? In their not likely in their joyous stage. In their suffering stage, reach points of helplessness and frustration, right? At which time they need something to get them out of the hole. So everything doesn't work. Your work life is in a mess. Your personal life is in a mess. Whatever, and then you have nowhere to go. That's the point that Francis is talking about here. Whereas Rumi is talking about this moral argument that society constructs. See, from the time we are kids, religion or no religion, the first thing that's drilled into you at school, at family, at society is right and wrong, right? And
Right.
we look at the world through the prism of right and wrong. Whereas in the spiritual world, there is no right and wrong. It's only squaring off what you have done in the past.
Correct.
And wrong also has its place, right also has its place. That's so profound. And that's so Baba, right? And that Rumi statement summarizes that beautifully. So I hope I'm making sense.
Absolutely, it
Yes, yes.
says the saint and the sinner in the seven realities which we read. Uh,
Yes. Why
so
does he have to say that in seven reality? Why does he have to say saint and the sinner are the same? So that's the
And
profundity. I mean, I think those of us on the sanskaras journey in discourses who are so deep, that was well timed. It was released just 3 days back, and I'm sorry I lost 24 hours by not sending it to you. After this meeting, I will send it to all of us. Yeah,
Jay
that
Baba.
yeah,
talk.
and
Thank you.
just
Uh,
same, for the same point which was referred by Mr. Mr. Ashwati, the saint and sinner, which Baba has it in the seven realities, he calls so-called sinner.
yes, yes.
The,
So-called
the
sinner.
word
Yes.
so-called is the meaning of it. Right.
Yes. So again, a spiritual life is not for everyone, right?
Yeah,
So it's
so-called bad,
and
so-called.
so-called bad, right? So-called sinner, right? So anyway, good
Okay, we'll go ahead. Yes, sir.
good discussion, and we can start reading. Over to you, Praveen. Jai Baba.
Avatar Meher Baba ki jai. It starts from here, right? Yeah. The days of
Yeah.
doubts about his divinity were amply compensated at night. Wow. This word, this line, I had to stop because this is something which is very near to my personal experience. I'll read it again. The days of doubts with his divinity were amply compensated at night. Anything that you find in a day difficult, sometime why Baba said this message in this way, which you were unable to digest. By the night, you'll have the answer. This is really correct, actually. I just wanted to make it.
Wow. So I think it's also to do with our ability to connect better to our intuition in the dream and the sleep state, right? So if you look at the title of this section, it's about how a dream is directing his life. But I understand you mentioned this in personal conversation, Praveen, how it was so many times in your younger days that you
Yeah, yeah,
used
yeah.
to get the
Yes.
answers in the dreams. Yes, I remember. Yeah. Dreams
Not
or
in the dream. It was,
just thoughts. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
just it. Yeah. I understand.
It just comes like the that's what I think. I think you should call intuition or whatever it is. That's
Yeah,
and
sure.
anyhow, I just feel it. Okay. I would wake up with cool, soothing tears rolling down unwarranted. Many times I would see Baba in dreams. To talk of them, all would sound ludicrous, even meaningless to some people. Some dreams are utterly disconnected and quite fantastic, but to me, they all brought the touch of his presence, which was ever sympathizing with me in my funny venture to understand him, the ununderstandable. I used to note down the details of these dreams, which dates and approximate timings. But after some years I had a fancy that to keep such a record was to feed the egoistic tendencies. One fine morning, I drowned these diaries in the river with the feeling that I had done something sacred. But does the storing or singing of such things have any value in itself? The freeing factor is entirely independent. With things such as diaries and other belongings, can we not remain free and light at heart in spite of natural ego based responses? Anyone has something to say around this paragraph?
I like the way how he linked ego to recording. So
Yes, yes,
I
because
have
I also felt.
yeah. So it just hit me about 6 7 years back, or maybe recently or more recently than that, where I suddenly got into trouble at home for linking selfies to ego. So I said selfies are nothing but ego. Okay. And then
You're right.
logically, it's absolutely right. This is exactly what he's
You're
saying.
right.
But then, you know why I got into trouble. But well,
I know, I
I
know.
walk into
And you're
I
right.
walk into trouble.
Actually. You, you keep your belongings, you keep many things in that Lala ego, but anyhow, Baba has his own way. Sometimes he will help with them,
Yes,
and the moment it is over, he will make you realize that it's your ego. Fine.
correct. Yeah.
Of all dreams I had, one dream continues to direct my life even after a long period of 25 years. In 1944, I had just commenced my career as school teacher. A year later, I was asked by one of the guardians of a retarded pupil to tutor his ward. He promised to pay me good fees. Accordingly, the boy came and I remember having taught him arithmetic A few sums from profit and loss, though I neither knew what real profit was nor real loss. And in one's business with the master, the dealings of profit and loss take marvelous and unforeseen turns. The boy did his assignment and went away. That same night, Baba appeared to me in a dream. He had a frowning look. He said, why do you accept tuition? Baba's frowning face had as much meaning and effect on me as his loving countenance. Karthik, will you just come down? Yeah, loving countenance. I was quick in making a decision and instantaneously replied, "No, Baba, I won't." And with this, the dream ended. The next day, the boy was sent back. Thus ended my first and last attempt to accept tuition, and thought of making money through and the thought of making money through tutorship terminated once and for all, though this field seemed to open rosy prospects materially. The dream definitely revealed to me that my fragile frame would not bear the extra assertion of tutoring. On the other hand, giving it up afforded me spare time for rest and Baba work. Meher Baba once remarked that whenever the master appears in a dream, it has a significance, though not necessarily comprehensible every time. It is a vision. By the way, regarding the subject of dreams, I wish to mention
So
a rare
these
type
are
of dream.
titles. So this is the book title. I mean, yeah, book title. But these are actually subtitles. So we finished the subtitle "Dream Directs My Life," and
Okay.
on the right side pages, this is the chapter heading. Okay, and the
Okay.
left side pages have the book heading, and this is a subtitle kind of thing, right? Section heading or whatever.
Okay. So we
So now we
start.
are moving
Okay.
from dream to experiences at the age of 12. Please start back from there if you don't mind.
Experiences at the age of 12. By the way, regarding the subject of dreams, I wish to mention a rare type of dream experienced by Elizabeth Patterson in 1937, when the Western group was living with Baba in India at the Nashik retreat. Elizabeth narrated the following incident. When she was 12-year-old, she dreamed of Baba three times in succession, and when she first met him, she recognized Baba as the one she had known in the dreams. There is a reference of number 18. Will you go down?
Yeah, yeah.
See Kitty
The
Devi
book
Reminiscences. Okay, Reminiscences Part 2. The Awakener Volume 10, Number 2. Okay,
published
it's
in
from that book.
1964. Yeah, yeah. No, it's not a book.
1960.
Actually, it appeared in the Awakener in a chapter
Yes, sir.
called Reminiscences. Part two of that chapter, published in 1964.
Many, many Baba lovers all over the world have had and still have different types of dreams of varying significance and creativity. Indeed, Baba had used and is still using the dream state of man to awaken him from his deep slumber and sleep. The mentioning of 12 years of age reminds me of another experience, that of Princess Non, Non, Nonina Mashbeli. It is of a different kind, a permissible digression, I hope, but it shows one of Baba's divine ways of contacting his people. Nonina writes, since my very childhood I knew of God. He rescued me at the early age of 12, at the time of my emotional awakening. He came as Jesus Christ and spoke to me. I met Meher Baba in 1931. Sorry, so that's the sentence over. He came as Jesus Christ and spoke to me. I met Meher Baba in 1931 and recognized him as the Christ personified. And when the master, that's Baba, without any reference on my part, told me that he was the one who came to me in form of Christ to give me the spiritual lead, he established in me that unconditional faith in him. This is reference 19, probably this is the second. Princess Nordina Machpili, Fragments from a Spiritual Diary, New York Circle publication, 1949. 3 and 4. Many are the illustrations exquisitely resplendent of his time-penetrating presence. The real significance of spirituality. Apart from Baba dreams, sometimes I beheld small and big stars and designs of light. Such recognitions would be on the borderline of my dreaming and waking states. Strangely enough, I would be fully awake, hearing and feeling things about me with eyes closed. The moment I opened them, these petty glimpses would be gone. Infrequently, I would wake up to find that my whole body was throbbing with light shocks similar to fairly mild electric shocks. These too would surprisingly continue while I kept my eyes closed. Even now, I do not understand what state I was in then. But does it hold much importance after one's contact with Master Meher Baba? Very little, I think, if any. What is this state? Does anybody have any idea of what he was speaking like? Specific state?
So I think he's talking about these electric shocks and the lights and stars and designs of light. Now, I think each one has their own experiences, and it's important for us not to give too much
Yeah,
importance
we do.
to the experience itself, but to the fact that try to make the inference from it and ask Baba and get a personal answer on what it means to our personal journey. It's not an end in itself. It's a manifestation of something in your sanskaric framework that makes these things happen. But it's not an end. It's not an experience that you need to be proud of, or it's not an attainment. That's all I would say, right? That
Yes.
Baba has said
And
multiple places rather.
So,
yeah,
so,
Karthik, if I may add, it's basically that phrase different strokes for different folks. So it's basically a different prescription or a treatment for everybody.
Absolutely. No, but then it's also easy to think of these experiences
Sorry?
something so common, or it's also not unusual to assume that these experiences are gifts in some kind from Baba, or in the spiritual world, you hear of these attainments as privileges or something like that. The Baba has said multiple places that none of that, right? So don't, these are just distractions, and they are not real. They are as unreal as the gross world we live in, right? So it's not an end in itself, but these are inescapable facets of your inner journey. We just shouldn't be distracted or consumed by it.
Yeah, I think it brilliantly put. It says attachment to the panorama of sights and lights is a distraction on the spiritual road. That's what it says
Where
in
you
this
where are
on
you
the
reading that from?
oh,
fifth line. Fifth line. One, two, three, four. One, two.
Yeah.
okay, so we're
Yeah.
going, we're coming to that then.
Yeah.
But
Please go ahead. Yeah.
okay. I used to write letters to Baba directly in those days, but in none of my letters did I make any reference to these experiences, not even in talks with him in the later periods. But I did pray to him then that the sooner the better I be relieved of such enticing experiences, and relieved I was. Attachment to the panorama of sights and lights is a distraction on the spiritual road. Spirituality does not consist in a change from common clothes to colored robes, from the usual apartments to caves and mountains, from normal perceptions to abnormal glimpses and visions. But it is a life open to God and His will without self resistance, and that is not very easy at all, though most natural. This line is really good. I think you can mark this, Karthik.
Yeah.
Adi Senior once told me of the following incident. One seeker asked the master, "What is the most difficult thing in spiritual life?" Next slide. Yeah, so to be perfectly human was the masterly reply. Has this not a fund of meaning behind it? Yes, yes, it has. To be Meher discourses on the place of occultism in spiritual life showed the way. This reading helped me to have a right attitude towards dreams, glimpses, and occult experiences. So I neither exaggerated the importance of my experience nor condemned them.
I think this is a very important line which I wanted to emphasize here. So, neither exaggerated nor condemned. Why I am saying it's important is, so don't ignore your dreams, because yeah, the dreams could be the source of your intuition. The dreams could be the source of your answers. Dreams could be the attempt of Baba to tell you something, but it's not an end in itself. So it's a fine balance that one has to do. And like I've said many times in the past, intuition is so difficult a topic because of the nature of our mind. Our mind will make you imagine something to be an intuition when it's not, and we will miss the real intuition thinking it is oh, it's just a figment of imagination, it's not really Baba, right? So both happens, and that's because of the nature of our mind. So very difficult.
Very
Karthik,
difficult to
add
do.
there is a cross reference in Listen Humanity. Basically, part 2, chapter 2, the cycle of sleep and waking. We can read that also too. It talks about what are dreams, what is sleep, and what is life and death, everything. So it talks about chapter 1 is about death and immortality, and chapter
Yes,
2 is
yes, yes.
of
Sleep.
sleep and waking, which has got a mention about dreams.
Yes, yes, yes. That's yeah.
I mean,
Maybe reading may be a digression. It's because the way we do Saturdays is more the experience and the discussion. So I think we'll stick to that. I know, but I know exactly what you're referring to. The second, I mean, I don't know whether it's the second chapter, but I know the chapter talks about the significance of dream and sleep states. I mean, all the
yeah,
three states.
so this is just a cross reference for somebody who wants to
Correct,
read.
correct. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, sure. Okay. At the end of the series of the above articles, Meher states, to penetrate into the essence of all being and significance and to release the fragrance of that inner attainment for the guidance and benefit of others by expressing in the world of forms, truth, love, purity, and beauty. This is a sole game which has intrinsic and absolute worth. All other happenings, incidents, and attainments in themselves can have no lasting importance. That reference is
Yeah.
discourses, Madhav
Discourses.
discourses.
He says 2:110. So that must be the early chapters on nature of spirituality. What is that called?
Yeah.
If you permit
In
me.
the current version, 110 is a different, probably. He's referring to the old versions.
Yeah. Maybe chapter name may be different. Life of the Spirit. I think it's most likely Life of the Spirit.
Hmm.
Is it page 110? Sorry.
Yeah, we can check if
Probably,
it match.
earlier discourses were in four different books, right? So he was referring to the
That's
second
true.
book in one.
That's true. But we can do a quick.
Can we look at the
Occultism and
reference?
spiritual definition.
Yeah, penetrate into the. Yeah, this is the one. We have marked it 2. So the page number is 200.
200.
So it's not the chapter I thought. Place of occultism. Okay, so because
Place
of
of
dreams,
occultism is
he's taking
simple.
it from place of occultism in spiritual life. Yeah. Okay. And by the way, like you said, I can add a reference. Uh, what did you say that part was?
That is Listen Humanity Part 2.
Part two.
Chap- 1 second. I just closed it. It's the cycle of
Sorry.
sleep. Listen Humanity Part 2, Chapter 2.
Cycle of sleep and waking.
Yes, the cycle of sleep and waking.
Yes. Back.
Fine.
And maybe we can rotate the reading. Anybody wants to read? Sunil ji,
हाँ जी, बोलो जी.
are you in a position to read?
I'm,
The rare
I'm
guests get privileges.
okay. I'm
No.
looking to
Up to you.
sit
Just
somewhere.
checking. Otherwise, no.
I'm
Then
walking.
no
Maybe the
problem.
next one. Next after
Next
this.
time, yeah. Next round, yeah.
No,
Okay.
just after the next speaker.
I'll
I'll
read.
I'll,
If anybody's there, otherwise I'll read.
Yeah, go ahead, Ashok ji.
I can
Thank
continue
you,
as well.
Praveen. What is that?
Meher Baba ki jai.
I think I can continue as well I can continue.
Yeah. No, let Ashok. Let's also get everybody
Okay.
a chance.
Yeah.
Ashok, you can read. Yeah, go ahead. Thank you. Thank you, Praveen.
Avatar Meher Baba ki jai. Meher Spiritual Center, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, USA. Meher Baba's external activities of the year 1945 commenced at Meherazad and concluded at Meherabad, a distance of only about 15 miles. But in between, there had been intense activities in the south and north of India. In the first week of January, Baba received a cable about the passing away of Mr. Simon Chapin, father of Elizabeth Patterson. The next day, Baba called back to his dear Elizabeth America. Your father has blessedly found a place in my infinite heart. This was
So
literally true. Yeah.
just to pause you there. Yeah. Okay. He's already talking about it. Go ahead. You don't. I don't want to interrupt. Continue. This was literally.
Okay. This was literally true because the present premises of the Meher Spiritual Center at Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, were previously owned by Mr. Chapin. The following two extracts, one from Mani's family letter to the West and other from an article of Kitty Devi, will make this point clear. Mani writes, Baba sent dearest Elizabeth and Norina, Princess Machabeli, to the United States from India in 1941 to locate a site for his spiritual center somewhere in the United States, one which would comply with the 5 conditions that he had laid down. 2 of the above conditions were that it should be on virgin soil and that it should be given from the heart. After a considerable search for the ideal site, the property now known as Meher Spiritual Center, comprising over 500 acres and 2 freshwater lakes adjacent to the ocean, came into Elizabeth's possession through her dear father, Mr. Simon Chapin. A perfect setting for the establishment of the center, as wished by Baba. It met all the conditions he had set down. 21 cross references. Manija S. Irani, family letter, October 25th, 1964, page 3. Mrs. Patterson had informed her dear father in advance of of her intention to dedicate this property to the cause of Meher Baba, and he had readily and lovingly agreed. About the formal inauguration of the center, Kitty Devi writes, the center was first visited by several of those devoted to Baba who came down from New York with Elizabeth and Norina in July 1944. During this visit, the property was dedicated to Baba by those present gathering shells along the ocean and bringing them to a certain knoll in the woods and placing them on the ground so as to spell Baba in large letters. Then each went in various directions, calling loudly the name of Baba through the silent forest of pine trees and over the rippling waves of Long Lake.
One of the
Cross,
lakes is called Long Lake, and yeah,
so
it's the
cross reference
reference.
22, Kitty Devi Recollections Part 3, The Awakener, Volume 6, Number 4, Fourth Quarter, 1960, page 23.
So one of the books I want to read in the future is Darwin Shaw's, which I happen to read. He covers a lot about the history of the center and the struggles of the early days of after the center was taken over, right? And it's so much full of love and so much full of uh, the determination, grit, and commitment of these core people, Kitty Devi, Elizabeth Patterson, and he and his family. He actually moved from his hometown to Myrtle Beach and was living and had a big role in setting the place up.
What's
Yeah,
the name? What's the title of the book?
Darwin, I don't recollect, but it's on the trust website. It's yeah, Darwin Shaw.
Okay, okay.
Did we catch all the 5 conditions that Baba had given?
Yes, of
Given from
course,
the
all the
heart?
five.
No,
Yeah.
I want to
So
recount.
I'll
Recall?
yeah, the
Yeah.
5 conditions were one, it should be received and given from the heart. Second
Mhm.
was it four or five? Second
5.
is it should be a place which is temperate climate or moderate climate. It should not be very hot. It should not be very cold.
Mhm.
Third, it should have all natural aspects. It should have hills. It should have forests. It should have fresh water. It should have access to ocean. The fourth, it should be uncultivated in the sense that it should not be agricultural land. It should be
Mhm.
virgin forest. And the last is I forget. Anyway, we can look it up. All five
Yeah.
were
Should not
met, by
be
the way.
occupied before. Nobody should have lived
No,
there
but
before.
that's linked to the
Yeah.
first one,
Yeah.
maybe, or maybe, yeah, maybe you're right. That's the last one.
Yeah, yeah.
But
We
all
also
five
read
were
that
met.
article. Yeah, we also read that
Yes, yes,
article
we read.
in
Yes,
Globe. Yeah.
globe.
And,
Yeah.
and putting all these conditions together, it seems Elizabeth went to the west coast looking for the land because
Yes, yes, because that's more obvious
likely
starting point. Yeah, yeah.
starting point. Also, another thing
And
came to me. Yeah, sorry, yeah,
mhm.
go ahead.
Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
The lake, apparently, the Long Lake, right in the center, is apparently dying.
Hmm.
There's a lot of algae there, and
Oh,
Jeff was telling me that they've tried many global experts to get rid of it. Somehow, not successful yet. So,
oh, okay, that's a pity.
I mean, it's yeah, it's happening. It's not going to be sudden, but seems like something is not right with it now.
Oh, okay, that's a pity. I didn't know about
Mm.
that. They actually had those, they had something they had inserted into the lake to curb the, the algae, not algae. I think it's that water hyacinth or whatever that
Yeah,
those
what I
leaves.
think, yeah. Right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So they were they were trying something. Maybe that's not working. Yeah. Oh, that's
Mm.
a pity.
Yeah, that's what I heard from him.
Okay.
Still very beautiful. At this moment, it's still very beautiful.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, even even from a natural beauty standpoint, I mean, for Baba lovers, it's heaven. Okay,
Heaven.
but
Yeah,
I'm saying
yeah,
even from a natural beauty standpoint, it's just
absolutely.
amazing.
Stunning. Yeah.
And the spiritual experience one feels in the room, Baba's house, is just amazing. And it's further enhanced when you read about all of this, right? And see what a lot of effort that went into it, and what a lot of love and what a lot of importance Baba gave to it. It's not just
Right.
the love of the lovers and the setting up of this place as a
Right.
location to represent him in the West, but it was Baba's efforts to ensure that it happened the way it happened. Yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
Absolutely, Karthik. But my what comes to my mind, it could be the effects of global warming. What Sunil mentioned is serious, but things are changing all around the world.
Yes.
Jay Baba.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead, Ashok.
Yeah, no wonder that during Mayor Baba's visit to Martle Beach, he once referred to this place as my home in the West. Thus, Mr. Chaplin had the unique good fortune to lay the foundation of Mayor Baba's Center in the West, and Baba's cable to Elizabeth that her father had found a place in his heart speaks volume about this wonderful good fortune. A rest house turns into Merazad, the next subtopic. In the beginning of this year, Baba stayed at Pimplegaon, Malvi, not in the village itself, but in a bungalow about a mile away at the foot of a hill. This residence is known as Merazad. Here I wish to give a short account of how this precious piece of land was selected for Baba's residence. Formerly, there was a small building on the land which was used as a rest house. In the early 1920s, Ahmednagar municipality planned to construct a dam so as to form a lake near Pimplegaon to serve as a water reservoir for the sprawling city of Ahmednagar. This work and that of water pumping station was done under the supervision of a special engineering staff. As it was a long range work far from the city, the municipality bought this rest house. It was used as the quarters for the engineering staff working on this site. When the entire project was finished, the bungalow remained vacant for years. None dared to occupy this solitary, secluded place, and slowly it began to dilapidate. It was proposed the rest house should be sold, and the municipal authorities placed an advertisement to the effect that it was to be sold at auction. Vishnu, one of the Mandali, brought this news to Baba's notice. You knew that Baba wished to have one secluded spot near Ahmednagar for a quiet stay and work. Baba was to leave Mehrabad on one of his must tours. He, however, took time to pay a visit to the site with Pendu and Padri. Baba liked the place immensely. Khan Sahib Sarosh Irani, one of Baba's closest disciples living in Ahmednagar, was the highest bidder at the auction. There was a hitch in the municipal standing committee sanctioning this deal, but Khan Bahadur, Adi K. Irani's father, convinced the committee members that Khan Sahib Sorosh was buying the property for Meher Baba's retreat ashram. He also told them that Baba staying at Pipalgaon would be highly beneficial to the villagers there. In addition to the rest house, the property had a motor shed, a stable, a kitchen, an outhouse, and an approach road of about 6 furlongs. Khan Sahib Sorosh also bought an adjacent plot of land, and these two plots now form the present premises of Merazad. The transaction was registered in February 1944, just 4 months prior to the inauguration of Mayor's Center on the Lakes at Myrtle Beach. During April and December 1944, Baba stayed in this rest house and did his work with the musts. He brought Ali Shah, one of his favorite musts, there from Ahmednagar. This was, in a way, the housewarming of the newly purchased sacred soil and hallowed house.
So if I can pause you for a minute,
Yes, yes.
I was just trying to see where is this water reservoir. So has anybody heard this before
Yeah,
or
you can
know
see
about?
it across, just very close to the place. There is if you go to
I'm
the
just
hill,
loading it.
yeah, there you can see that from top.
This one, right?
No. This I think is a mechanical one. I think there is one more which looks like more of a lake actually.
So this is Mehrazad,
Yeah.
and yeah, so this is Simple Gaon. Now, I would
It's on the
believe that.
other side of the road actually. Other side of the road.
Oh, other side of the road. Okay, so it was not
Yeah.
adjoining the building.
Yeah, there is
Okay.
one which is very close. Yeah, see on the yes, you can see this green thing, Pimpalgaon Lake.
Oh, okay.
Mahadev.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the one. It's a big one actually.
Okay.
When you
So they were
come from
using that.
Ahmednagar to Merazad, you see it on the right side actually, not on the left.
Yeah, this is the right side. Okay, I've never seen it, and I've never observed and never heard of this aspect. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah. Sure.
Sunil ji, let me know when you are ready and I'll hand over.
Okay, I can read
Keep
now.
going. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, if that's the time to switch, I'm okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Just turn
Thank
on
you.
my laptop. Yeah.
Thanks,
My audio is
Mr.
clear.
Ashok. And yes, please go ahead.
Okay. Baba, during April and December 1944, Baba stayed in his rest house and did his work with the must. He got Ali Shah, one of his favorite masters from Ahmednagar. This was, in a way, housewarming of the newly purchased sacred soil and hallowed house. This is where Ahmednagar, okay. From 1949, on this whole property known as Mehrazad, has been registered in the name of Nariman M. Davachandji, one of our closest and dearest disciples. Since then, Nariman and his dear and generous wife, Arnavaz, have been taking great care of to maintain the property and to keep it in good shape. For Baba's use and from 1969 on for his people. The hill that stands behind Baba house at Mehrazad was called Tembi Hill. Now it is known as Meher Baba's Seclusion Hill. For Baba's use, Khan Sahib Sarosh Irani acquired the top of this hill, including a right of way on a long lease from the government. So the top of the hill
I think,
belongs to the Mehrazad property.
yes, I was also not aware of that, but that's nice to know. So if you look at this from only, how do you see only the 3D? Anyway, everybody knows the seclusion hill, so I don't want to take our time. Yeah. Okay.
A short stay in Lucy's house. During January 1945, Baba stayed at Mehrazad, and the same delightful must, Alisha was brought here for a period of 25 days. Baba worked with him daily. Incidentally, we went to Merazad on, I think it was August 11th. We were there. Namita and I went to Ahmednagar, Mehrabad on 9th of August. Then 10th, 11th, we were there. 11th, we went to Merazad. During the
Lovely.
stay, the plan of, yeah, during the stay, the plan of repairing and reconstructing the buildings was discussed. As this work was to commence soon, Baba agreed to stay in Rusi Petawala's house in Ahmednagar. His son Jahangir Irani alias Rusi owned a cafe and a general store in Quetta. Baba visited Quetta on work in the summer of 1923 and 24. During this period, Rustam's whole family came into Baba's close contact. In the 1930s, Rustam left Quetta and came to Ahmednagar for a permanent stay to lead a retired life. One of his daughters, Dr. Gohar, after passing her MBBS in 1944, worked for some years in the different hospitals under Baba's instructions. He joined the Women Monthly, residing with Baba in 1947 at Satara. He was a personal physician of Baba till he dropped his body. Her services to Baba as a disciple and doctor are unique indeed. It is because of such past and future close connections that Baba lovingly accepted the invitation of his dear Lucy to stay at his house in Ahmednagar. Baba was there from January 31 to March 9, 1945. Baba left Ahmednagar in the first week of February 1945 to visit Jhansi in Madhya Pradesh for must contacts. There he contacted in all 14 God intoxicated souls, including a Mastani named Punjabi Mai. She had beautiful features and talked sense sometimes, while Alauddin was a naked must, rather insensitive about his words. Unmindful of climatic changes, he was seen resting on his back against a wall, gazing at the sky for years, he said. Baba knows best. Badul offered him a cigarette, and this brought him into a good mood, and Baba was happy to contact him. After returning to Ahmednagar, Baba discussed with the Mandli the subject of 1 month meeting of the signatory. The decision made was conveyed to the persons concerned through a special circular issued on March 1, 1945. It contained the following statements from Baba. The headline, can you show? I think there's a headline on top. Artik?
That's just the chapter heading. Continue.
Oh, that's the chapter heading. The specific purpose of the meeting is spiritual, and until this is properly served, mere bringing together of a number of signatories will not have fulfilled the purpose. There are several difficulties. They must be solved through natural means. Intervention of my universal mind at this juncture is not appropriate. Rising above the mental upsets caused by prolongation and postponements of the 1 month meeting can be counted as solid proof of the soundness of faith in following my instructions at all costs and sufferings, whether mental or physical. At the end of the circular, Baba expressed a wish to call a group meeting of about 40 persons, representing the group, the signatories in different parts of India on May 23, 1945 at Mehrabad. Fixing up a villa at Hyderabad. Dr. William Donkin was one of the intimate Mandli living with Baba. He was a British subject. So after the commencement of World War II, he had to offer his services as a doctor in the army. In 1945, he was posted at Secunderabad in charge of a military hospital. Baba instructed Dr. Donkin to find a suitable bungalow near Hyderabad for his stay with his men and women monthly. Baba wished to make Hyderabad his headquarters for contacting commerce in southern India. Dr. Donkin selected 2 or 3 bungalows and wrote to Baba about them. Baba sent Pindu with certain instructions to finalize this matter. Pindu saw the bungalows chosen by Dr. Donkin, but in the light of Baba's requirements, he did not find them up to the mark. So they both moved to the twin cities of Hyderabad and Secunderabad. In the part known as Jubilee Hills, Pindu spotted a new villa nearing completion and well kept. Well kept garden and a small swimming pool. These were items in the terms stipulated by Baba. Pindu made inquiries to the owner, who was a prominent lawyer in Hyderabad. Baba was then informed about the facilities the villa offered, and he personally visited Hyderabad to find out if the place was really suitable for his stay and work. Baba liked the bungalow and asked Pindu and Dr. Donkin to leave it. The owner was so busy that they could not see him until late at night. They had a talk about the rent and other requirements in the bungalow. Then the lawyer instructed his clerk to prepare the necessary draft of a compliance agreement concerning the facilities in the villa and the advance money to be paid. By the time the men returned to the hotel, it was nearly midnight. Baba looked anxious to hear the report, and he asked, Karthik?
Yeah.
And he asked Pindu to read the draft. It was in Urdu, and Pindu could not read it, so Baba asked him to find someone in the hotel who knew Urdu well. Actually, the tourists had gone to sleep. However, Pindu had completed talking in one of the rooms. He knocked at the door. A young man opened the door, welcomed Pindu, and asked him to come in and join them in the party and drinks. Pindu inquired if any of them could read Urdu, and fortunately one could. Pindu requested him to visit the room of his elder brother in the same hotel. Though drunk, this man seemed sober enough to read out to Baba the agreement drawn in Urdu. While listening, Baba gave certain instructions to Pindu regarding the changes to be made in the draft. As a tipsy man, too, was of timely help in the divine Saki who held his eyes in his eyes the immeasurable love wine. This account is given so as to convey an idea of how particular Baba was in selecting his residence as he moved from place to place. Perhaps every house or estate where Baba lived or camped has a history of its own to tell. This episode is given
Your audio is cutting off randomly. This is the second time it happened. So can you read again from?
yeah.
Yeah,
The
if you want
problem is
to.
with my Wi-Fi. I'm using a hotspot and I'm outside.
Okay, no
So
problem.
let me finish this para again.
Sure.
While listening, Baba gave certain instructions to Prindu regarding the changes to be made in the draft. That the tipsy man who was of timely help to the divine Saki, who held in his eyes the immeasurable love wine. This account is given so as to convey an idea of how particular Baba was in selecting his residence as he moved from place to place. Perhaps every house or estate where Baba lived or camped has a story of its own to tell. This episode is given as an example. Baba would always be in a hurry, or seemingly so. Hence, he left Hyderabad by the early morning train for Ahmednagar. By the first week of March 1945, the arrangements at the villa in Jubilee Hills at Hyderabad were complete. So Baba wished to shift his headquarters there with his men and women mandali. Thus ended the sojourn at his dear Rusi's bungalow. At present, this particular bungalow with a spacious compound is rented by the state government for the office of the Junior Industries Inspector. Would the staff working there ever have an idea of the divine industry carried on by Meher Baba to his divine office in that place? By March 10, 1945, Meher Baba was at Hyderabad. How much Baba traveled? One day here, one day there.
Baba
Okay.
went to
Can't
Hyderabad
believe.
14 times.
It just
14 visits
can't
to Hyderabad.
believe.
That they are listed in Hyderabad website. Yeah.
I just can't understand. He was almost everywhere at the same time. Okay, can you
Yes,
somebody please
yes.
take over? I don't want to
Yes, that's sure, sure. That's what I
intervene.
was also going to suggest. So, Sanjay ji, I see Mahu's on the call.
Yeah.
Anybody can.
Let let me read for 15 minutes and then Mahu can come.
Sure. Okay. Thank you. Jai Baba. Thank you, Sunil.
Must
No,
the
the
innocent.
chapter. Now it's a new
Okay.
chapter. So 6 months stay at
Yes.
Hyderabad. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Hyderabad, Andhra.
just again to summarize, the way it's working is the left pages have the name of the book, left side pages. Right side page has the chapter name, and he
Okay.
also uses section headers like this, right?
Yeah.
So now we are
Okay.
moving to chapter 6. Chapter 6 is 6
Okay.
months stay at Hyderabad. It's very difficult to get a context in electronic copies. So I'm just, go ahead.
Hyderabad, Andhra was one of Meher Baba's favorite places in India. Once he remarked that he liked Hyderabad not just for its material prosperity, but for its spiritual background. True to this remark, Baba contacted over 60 mosques in Hyderabad, quite a large number. I do not know whether any other city in India ever exceeded this number of God intoxicated souls. In March 1945, Meher Baba and his party left for Hyderabad to stay in the new villa in Jubilee Hill. Baba lived there with a group of women mandali, including Mehra, Mani, Naza, Rano, Kitty, Irene, Margaret, and few others. The following men mandali were with him: Gustaji Baidul Kaka, Vishnu, Dr. Neelkant Nilu, Dr. Gani, Adi Senior, Iraj, and others when they were called. They resided in another bungalow nearby. Baba lived there from March 10 through September 6, 1945. During this period, he carried out some of his important must activities in and around Hyderabad and in southern India. The following description of the peculiarities of musts may give some idea about those he contacted at Hyderabad. One line left.
Obviously, So, obviously, the reference is from Wayfarers, and the pages are 248 to 240, 255. That's the end note. Yeah. But then he quotes from there. Go ahead.
Makdum.
Maktub.
Yeah. Makdum was an old must who preferred to put on dresses of many colors. He was fond of keeping several puppies around certain localities on a pony with a kitten on his lap. Chaman Ali Shah, another must, was interested in his pet pigeons. At the time of contact, he asked for Baba's umbrella and it was given to him. He changed his voice while muttering to himself so that the casual listener thought that a group of persons was talking together. Akbar, captain, was a must
Abkari.
with a dark.
Abkari. Not
Okay.
Akbar. I think it's Abkari.
Okay, Abkari, captain, was a must with a dark complexion. wore dark glasses that had made him all the more conspicuous. After Baba's contact, he wished to be taken for a drive in Adi's car, and his request was granted by Baba. Shastri Bua, who was once a man of great learning, became a must by a stroke of good fortune, as was in process of unlearning involution. Baba liked him and remarked that he was on the sixth plane of consciousness. One must, Ahmad Ali Baba, usually asked for money from passers-by, while Chunnu Mian, if given money, would at once give it away to someone else standing by. Ghulam Hussain was a mixture of Jalali and Zamali types. He wore good clothes and sometimes observed high etiquette. Hence, the Mandali used to refer to him as the gentleman master. Moinuddin Baba, Nanne Mian, roamed through the streets practically naked. At night, he would shut himself in a cage like owl. So Baba nicknamed him Pinjra Wala. Pinjra means cage. In fact, the real names of most of these musts are not known, and in their search for the nameless one, they never objected to the names by which they were called. Let me read the last line again. I think
Yeah, it's
that is not
beautiful.
caught. Yeah. In fact, the real names of most of the musts were not known, and in their search for the nameless one, they never objected to the names by which they were called. Yeah, that's
Never
all.
mattered to them.
Children cheered Raja Mastan. For the must work, Baba rented a special hall near the railway station at Khairatabad, a suburb of Hyderabad. Some musts were taken there for contact. Narumuddin, Naruddin, Nuruddin, a tall and lanky must, was found fond of toddy, and Baba allowed him to visit the toddy shop to refresh himself. One day, when Nuruddin was being taken to Khairatabad in a tonga, Baba was by his side with Baidul and Iraj following him in a rickshaw. On the way, Baidul spotted another must named Rajia Mastan. He wore a dirty loincloth and a huge turban, and he had a bundle of rags and broken china plates on his back. He walked like a Raja, king, through the streets to the delight of the school children. He had a hole in his neck of which he was entirely unmindful. As he got into the rickshaw with Baidul, a number of school-bound children shouted merrily at him. Baba enjoyed this situation immensely. Such interesting episodes used to refresh Baba's party in the hazardous work of contacting musts. Go up, go up. Yeah. Moinuddin, a great must and a glutton. I would like to mention the crowning must contact at Hyderabad. Sayyid Moinuddin was the head of the musts there. The charge man, he was a Mazhoop like must of sixth plane. He was lame, but of a typical Jalali type. He loved sweeping the roads, smoking cigarettes, and doing full justice to barfi, a kind of Indian sweetmeat. Baba contacted him three times. The final contact expressed his most loving way of responding to the absurd whims of the masses. Baba waited patiently for about 3 hours before the mus could allow him to feed him. But once the feeding commenced, it seemed to have no ending. After consuming a good quantity of food, Moinuddin asked for a lot of minced meat and bread, what we call as keema in India.
Kima.
Minced meat, yeah, yeah. Then for a kettle full of tea. This was followed by consuming his favorite barfi and then smoking his pet brand of cigarettes. After complying with the rest of his whims, Baba was happy to contact the charge man in the way he wished for his spiritual work. Baba's all knowing ignorance. Now, after giving a general account of Baba's contact with the masjids in Hyderabad proper, I wish to describe a few other contacts made in April and May 1945 before he left. For the meeting at Mehrabad, Baba visited for the meeting in Mehrabad. That's the full stop. Sorry. Baba visited Bidar in April and contacted four masks. One named Maulana Abdul Haq wore a number of clothes and a monstrous turban. His appearance resembled a picture in an advertisement for tires. So Baba named him Dunlop. He was an entertaining musk, but a moderate one. The second contact, Sadiq Shah Mazhub, was a tall, thin, highly advanced musk of the sixth plane, fond of chewing roasted grams, a type of legume, chana as we call it. His comic companion was fond of carrying people's luggage, but he would not accept tips. Not far from Hyderabad, at Kandahar, Baba contacted a must, Farooq Mia, whose peculiarity was to stand in water for an hour and read aloud the Holy Quran. At first, he was not ready to meet Baba, but his brother pleaded for the contact. The must hit his brother hard on his head, laughed loudly, and burst out, I am ready. Here, Baba got the news that there was one God intoxicated soul named Nivritri Maharaj in a village 7 miles away. This was enough to tempt Baba to visit that out of the way spot. No car or bus had access to the place, so a bullock cart was hired. It bumped on and on over the uncared for road, there being innumerable ditches and dry beds of streams. The party jolted with a bumping cart which shook the bones of everyone. On reaching the village, it was found that the must had just left for an unknown destination. So a quick turnabout was made on the same royal road in the dead of night. Any must tour with Baba meant sleepless nights and a host of hardships. What a Leela, divine game. Baba's love for contacting musts was divinely human and full of all knowing ignorance.
Just as a
Anybody wants to
context,
read? Yeah.
7 hours. Yeah, I can take over and read. Just as
Yeah.
context, if you are going 7 kilometers on a bullock cart, probably it'll take you 2 hours or more, right? And Baba did that,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he didn't
With
even
this
make
kind of
that
road,
contact.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, in
just
this kind of road,
amazing.
yes.
Yeah, amazing. Okay, I will read for some time now. Sar Meher Baba ki jai, and thank you, Sanjay ji. Baba's party suspected. Nanded, Udgir, and Bongir were places visited by Baba near Hyderabad. An incident at Sangareddy Pit is worth mentioning. Once again, the party had to undergo a racking and rattling journey of over 20 miles in a bullock cart as the place was in the interior of Hyderabad state. The party arrived at Sangareddy Pet at nightfall. Baidul's appearance resembled that of a Pathan, so the presence of the group aroused suspicion among the people. They intimated this to the police, who wished to take the party into custody. Erach insisted on seeing the sub inspector, who became thoroughly convinced that they were real gentlemen. By this time, it was quite dark, but Baba insisted on meeting the Must Abdullah Sahib, and he did visit him. All had a sleepless night. Baba contacted the Must again before leaving in the morning and felt happy about it. They then began the return journey in the same cart, an aching ride of about 6 hours. Wow. As the party reached Hyderabad, Baba looked tired physically, but his eyes were nevertheless beaming with radiance, for the contact with Abdullah had been to his satisfaction. A meeting at Mehrabad. On May 1, 1945, all the signatories joined Baba in a day's fast. Baba alone continued the fast for 9 days by remaining on plain water only. This fast was followed by the strenuous musk tours described above, and by noon on the 22nd of May, he reached Mehrabad to attend the special meeting previously announced. At the commencement of this meeting, Baba remarked, God plays his part in 7 stages, and he explained the gist of evolution and the 7 stages of involution. God Speaks, second edition, page 80. From what we have gathered from Baba, it seems that the figure 7 has a special spiritual significance. Turning to the political situation in India and abroad, he said, outwardly, the Second World War is over, but the inner war still continues. Rather, it is intensified. At the end, he stated, through natural and unnatural destruction and explosions, immense suffering awaits the world. Has this not come to pass? During this meeting, Baba Das, Vibhuti, Dr. Daulat Singh, and Manek Mehta reported to Baba about the work they had been doing in spreading his message of love. During such hearings, Baba would lighten the seriousness by telling a joke now and then. In reference to one of his workers, he commented, his work is indeed good, but the reporting is so confusing that even God is helpless to understand him. And at the time, someone suggested that the necessary booklets about Baba be printed in Delhi. Baba, whose wit was gay as a wind and who had a faculty for a quick twist of words, remarked in Hindi, Delhi bahut dur hai, literally meaning Delhi is far away, while the actual sense conveyed that the thing in question was not an immediate problem. At the end of the first day's meeting, it was decided to circulate to Baba people the following message. For keeping Meher Baba undisturbed in his universal work, he would have no contact with his disciples and devotees till the end of December 1945, excluding those staying with him. On the second day of the meeting, in the course of informal talk, Baba remarked, those who stay with me perform neither jap nor tap, but their spiritual worth is much more than those who spend their lifetime in doing such things. A life of obedience to the Master is of great spiritual value. After a little pause, he added, I would not have served my Master as the Mandali are serving me. Baba then conveyed in a sentence or two what he felt about each one of the Mandali living near him. Then the question of calling the 1-month meeting was discussed in detail in Baba's presence. The decisions made were later released to Baba's disciples and devotees through a special circular. After the meeting was over, Baba especially delayed his departure in order to attend the wedding of one of his dearest Mandali, Irach. Baba was personally present at the Akbar Press, Ahmednagar, where the wedding took place. After blessing the couple, Baba left Mehrabad for Hyderabad to resume his work with the mosque. A must is God playing a child. After his
So
return
1 minute.
to
So this was Irach's wedding, right?
yeah.
So see the beauty actually. Normally Baba would never attend any weddings, and he attends this one, and then this marriage. I mean, of course, they never consummated, or they never stayed together. See the beauty.
Yeah. So we don't know what was the reasoning there or
Yeah.
Jai Baba.
Let's
Jai
continue.
Baba.
At the
Jai
wedding,
Baba.
Baba, Baba asks his wife of Irich, Khurshid, to give him. Like he asked, if, can you give me a gift which I asked for? And she says yes. And then he asked her, will you give Irich to me? Then she immediately says yes. This is what happens at the wedding.
Oh, okay.
Then later,
Hmm.
it's an interesting journey. Yeah. Well, no, actually, yes and no, because like for example, one night, one day, Erich wanted to go and see her, and Baba said, actually it was evening. Baba said, if you go there, do not come back. If you go there, then do not come back here. And Erich chose to stay with Baba and not her. But then she went, she had her own journey. She went and she found another master, and Baba was okay with it. But Baba gave her a few things, for her to obey, and she didn't. Um, anyway, but and then she didn't stay for a long time with the other master. I forgot what the name was. But
Mir Chandani.
then, huh? What is the
Mir
name of
Chandani.
that?
Mir Chandani.
Oh,
Mir Chandani. Okay. I didn't know this.
Nichanani.
Interesting.
And
Okay.
then this was somebody was telling me that in Paramera, but and then it didn't. Oh, she was staying in the ashram of that guru or master, and then she left after 3 years or so. I don't remember exactly, but then she came back, and at that time, uh, her marriage with Erich was over. She came to the man in Akbar Press. His name is Nashwan, and married with him. And then after that, I don't know what happened to her. Yeah,
Wow.
and
That's
that was
interesting context. I have not heard about this, or maybe if I have, I've forgotten. I was not aware that Erich was married because I had always assumed that he was single. But yeah, very interesting
for
There
context.
is a
Thanks,
picture of his
Sanjay,
for
with
a
his
Ravi.
wife.
short
Yeah.
time.
There's a
Yeah,
picture of.
Yeah.
and it was an arranged marriage. Well, Erich studied engineering, so he had like a normal worldly life first in the very beginning, and this was arranged marriage, and her name was Khurshid. In fact, their pictures together is available when they were together for 1 week or so, but nothing
Wow.
intimate, just together like a friend or something. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Jay Baba, Karthik, everybody. I mean, it's fate that she had the Sehwas with Baba, and I mean, it's all destiny and fate, and maybe sanskaras that she couldn't, stay with Baba. Oh, and went into
Yeah, yeah.
spiritual.
Yeah, but based on what Mahu said, it's also with Baba's permission. So he knew what he was doing with her, and it was her,
It is.
I mean, her
Yeah.
journey. Yes, yeah.
It is actually another story altogether because it is Baba's permission, but not that Baba sent. Huh? He chose, and it is like it was a story, a short story behind it. Then Baba sent Eraj with a message to different masters in India, like who were into different places. Uh, the message speaks something like you are my dear son. I always have you in my heart. Something. It reads up to that. So Erich was going to one of another masters. There were many, Kripal Singh, someone called Papa, and all this kind. And I think in that Mir Chandani was also there. So when Erich reached Mir Chandani, and given this message, he was surprised to see Khurshid there because no one knew that Khurshid was actually visiting with Chandani in Bombay. She was always going to Bombay, but without any, not telling anyone where she was going and whom she was meeting. But she was with Mir Chandani, and Mir Chandani was in the spiritual, like he declared himself as some spiritual hierarchy, someone. And when Mir Chandani read that message, he became furious and he said, "Who is Meher Baba to bless me?" kind of uh, thing. And so then at that point of time, like Eric's first time seen Khurshid, and when he has to come back and has to narrate everything what has happened at all the places, he had to narrate this story also to Meher Baba, and then a family thing was called like so this should not happen in this way, and Eric's family, everybody was called in Akbar Press, and even Khurshid was called. And a discussion happened, I think Eric's father, I think he was saying, in our family, we all accepted Mehbooba, so we should not go to anyone. And discussions have gone in one way or another, like, it is her wish, why should she? And then, like, Mehbooba has given a message that no one will keep any contact with Khurshid moving ahead, something as such. I don't exactly remember, but she will do as her wish, but she's not from now on she's not part of Jisewala family as such, something as such. And uh, whether she should be coming back to whether she should be allowed in Akbar Press or not, again a discussion has come, and Baba allowed her to Akbar Press, as far as I remember. She can come to Akbar Press. Only that much was allowed, I think. Uh, uh, After that, she went to Miss Chandani, but which at later part of her life, sometimes she broken her hip or something when she was serving him, and she was treated very badly at that company, and no one even taken care of her or something as such happened. Again, she has to come back to Akbar Press and live in her last days again here. This is what, in short, up and downs would be there, but in short, this is the gist of the story. Push it.
Wow. Thank you so much. I mean, so thanks for sharing both who's,
Bad audio. You're not audible.
Bad audio.
Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Cut it. Yeah.
One more,
I was far away. I
Yeah.
was
Now
far
good.
away. Thank
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
for sharing. Is all I
one
said.
line, one
Yeah.
more line, one line I had to give here. Another thing is, in this whole thing, someone asked Baba whether you will, what you call, forgive her for what she has done. She has left you and gone to other master. Baba said, well, she has given me a rest, so everything will be forgiven for her.
Wow.
Wow.
So for the rest of us, we don't
Amazing.
have a rest.
Good. Good. Happy to have you, Praveen, on this call because I think you are so well read and we are getting a lot of
Yes.
inputs from you. Yeah, I'm very happy actually. Good.
Yes.
Thank you.
This is
And
great.
his memory is very good. He's able to
Yeah.
recount
Yeah.
so much from his readings. He does a lot of reading and lot of YouTube, but his memory is very good. I do a lot too, but my memory is pathetic. I need notes.
No, actually, it is not my memory, not the goodness of memory. It is the memory of what you call not very fast. It is most recently I had gone to one of the videos. That's the
Okay, okay, okay. Very good. Anyway, thank you on behalf of all of us, like Sanjay ji said. Yeah. So I think we are almost out of time. Any thoughts before we wrap up? We will stop on this subsection and pick up this later. By the way, I did share that um, um, karma and sanskara's video. So feel free to, or rather, I suggest that you try to find some time to see it before we do tomorrow's discourses, so that we can discuss that as well.
Where is it at? Where is it at?
Oh,
Which
yeah,
video?
I shared it both on WhatsApp as well as on um, um,
Telegram.
Telegram.
Telegram. Yeah, I'll just put it here and you can quickly grab it. Just one
Yeah, that'd be
second.
great. So I can do the,
Yeah,
copy
it's
the
basically
link.
yeah, it's basically but you have to copy it because you won't have access after the meeting. By the way,
But where would
this
you put
is
it?
right here, right here, right here.
And you said, you mean in the chat?
Yes, in the chat here. I'm just
Yeah.
putting it.
Okay, so I have something also to add to all the thing that Parveen said. And this is about Erich's mother. She was a very, very interesting character, totally dedicated to Baba. They were extremely wealthy family. They had properties, houses here, there, and what they did is they left everything behind, and it was because of the Gai Mai's encouragement and devotion, more than her husband, which I think her name was Beram Shah. They are all Parsi name. Uh, so she left everything behind, and she encouraged her children. Uh, I think she had two daughters, Meru and Manu. Manu, of course, later on we met in Merazat. She came and lived there till she died. And Erech and Merwan. Merwan, two sons and two daughters. Anyway, so and then Baba liked Gaimai very much, because she was all for Baba. Um, and Baba said, like, as I said, her service and dedication, it was even more than her husband. But Baba said, Gaimai will be my mother in my new advent after 700 years. Yeah. And then also he
Yes.
said, Karman Masi will be my father. See, it's so interesting because even for 700 years ahead of us, he already looks like planned it. Can you believe? He probably has his
Yeah.
circle, inner circle, outer circle, who knows? So, who's coming with him and all that. So, yeah.
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 Amazing. Yeah. Great. Thanks for sharing.
So
And I put it on the chat. I put it on the
where is
chat.
it?
So can
Hold on.
um,
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, I see that.
Karthik,
Uh-huh.
I've seen that, and we'll go through it. And I just wanted to
yes,
add,
thank you.
interesting that what we read, the period was the period of the Second World War. That is the thought which came
Yes.
to my mind, that while all this was happening, Baba contacting Mas and all the spiritual work, and and on the other end of, in the world of duality, there was this suffering and loss of lives and war. So I mean, it's all simultaneous.
Yeah,
So,
very
Kartik,
much.
is it Kartik? Is
Uh-huh.
it one video that Daniel Stone did? And looks like it
Yes, one
posted
video.
2 days ago. Just one video. Okay, I got it.
Correct. And that video, I think it was a live session recorded in Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, Meher sent actually Daniel Stone. Now he has got them quite active. He's very active
Okay.
in many ways. Yeah. Okay, I'll
Okay.
watch it for
Thank
sure.
you.
It looks like it's
Thank you.
an hour and 10 minutes. So, but it should
Yes.
be good.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
No, it's
All right.
worth your time. As I said, I heard it twice. Uh, because see, I think I mean, again, sorry to extend this. Sanskaras are Baba's big contribution. He has said it many times in his ontology and his overall theology. I don't even want to use the word theology, but in his message, sanskaras play a big role. So, what is sanskaras, and how is it different from karma? Is what he explores, and I think as serious students, it's a good thing that we need to read and understand. And I do not know Daniel Stone, but it will be nice to know more about him as well sometime.
Yeah, he was a corporate consultant and a very great speaker, and also calm. And yeah, I think now he has retired himself.
Okay.
Of course, now he lives in Myrtle Beach. But what you said also is that question always comes up. I remember in several meetings. What's the difference between karma and sanskaras?
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
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 So
They are not the same,
perhaps.
and I think they are not the same. That I knew always, but this exploration helped me create a framework in my head on the difference. It's still foggy, but this was surely helpful. So that's why I wanted to share it with all of you. Anyway,
Yeah,
thank you
then we
so
can
much.
talk about it. Thank you.
Yeah,
Jai
yeah,
Baba.
sure, sure. Look forward.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. Take care.
thank you.
Jai
Jai
Baba. Have
Baba.
a
Have
great
a good
weekend.
day, weekend. We'll talk later. Bye.
Yes, thank you.